Hello, I am Knight of Christ Jesus here. My knowledge and your IQ is insufficient. We need the Almighty Father's grace as a crowning glory. So let us begin this session with a prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, bless and bestow upon us your grace. Make this learning process a pleasure. Help and guide us through the Holy Spirit. The knowledge acquired here be used for peace and prosperity of human race. Let this human race be the pride of Christ Jesus. Lord, thy kingdom come. Amen. Today, we will see the derivative of trigonometric function by first principle method. Let y equal to sin x be equation 1. If x tends to x plus delta x, then y will tend to y plus delta y. Substituting this in equation 1, we get y plus delta y is equal to sine of x plus delta x. Transposing y the other side, delta y is equal to sine of x plus delta x minus y. Delta y is equal to sine of x plus delta x minus y is nothing but sine x. So when you put, you get sine x, sine of x. Now we are going to use a formula based on compound angle based, converting the difference into the product. Sine x plus y equals sine x into cos y plus cos x into sine y. Sine x minus y equal to sine x into cos y minus cos x into sine y. So subtracting these two, we get this plus sine x cos y and minus sine x cos y gets so. Got? So you'll be getting sine of x plus y minus sine of x minus y equals 2 times cos x into sine y. Put x plus y equal to alpha and x minus y is equal to beta. So adding x plus y equal to alpha, x minus y equal to beta. When you add this, plus x and minus y, plus y and minus y gets cancelled. So 2x will be equal to alpha plus beta. So therefore x will be equal to alpha plus beta by 2. Similarly, you have x plus y equal to alpha, x minus y is equal to beta. Subtracting them, changing the signs, you come to know plus x and minus x gets cancelled. Plus y and plus y becomes 2y. This will be equal to alpha minus beta. Therefore, y is equal to alpha minus beta by 2. Substituting these in these equations, we get sine of alpha minus sine of beta equals 2 cos x is nothing but alpha plus beta by 2. So it will become alpha plus beta by 2 into sine y. That is sine, in the place of y, substitute the value of y, it will become alpha minus beta by 2. This is the formula which we will be applying over that. So it says sine x plus delta x minus sine y. So this formula I am copying there. So therefore it becomes sine alpha minus sine beta equals 2 into cos alpha plus beta by 2 into sine alpha minus beta by 2. So this is a formula which we will be applying to that. So when you do that, this is like alpha. Alpha is x plus delta x. Beta is x. So in the place of sine x plus delta x minus sine x, I write it as delta y is equal to 2 into cos in brackets x plus delta x, the first part, just like alpha, plus beta is x, into whole divided by 2, into sine x plus delta x minus x, whole by 2 you get. So simplifying this you get delta y is equal to delta y is equal to cos of 2x plus delta x by 2 into sine plus x and minus x gets cancelled, therefore only delta x will be left. So delta x by 2. This is what you will get. Now dividing throughout by delta x, you get, divide by delta x, you get delta y by delta x equals 2 into cos of 2x plus delta x by 2 into sine delta x by 2 divided by delta x. So we make a small arrangement here, that is delta y by delta x equal to 2 into cos of 2x plus delta x whole by 2 into sine delta x by 2 whole divided by delta x by 2 into 2. So because limit of sine theta by theta is equal to 0. So therefore I am making this modification. This 2 and this 2 I will cancel it off. Now taking limit as delta x tends to 0, we get limit of delta y by delta x as delta x tends to 0 equals limit of cos of 2x plus delta x by 2 as delta x tends to 0 into limit of sine delta x by 2 divided by delta x by 2 as delta x tends to 0. So this will resolve into d by dx of y equal to, this will become cos of 2x plus 0 by 2. Because delta x tends to 0, it becomes 0. This 2 and this 2 gets cancelled. Into this limit of sine theta by theta as theta tends to 0 is 1. That is limit of sine theta divided by theta as theta tends to 0 equal to 1. So therefore this will evaluate to 1. So therefore finally you will be having d by dx of y is nothing but sine x is equal to cos x. So differentiation of sine x is cos x. Thank you. Today we'll see the derivative of Cosec. Okay, so let y equal to Cosec. This be equation 1. If x tends to x plus delta x, then y tends to y plus delta y. Substituting these two in equation 1, we get y plus delta y is equal to cos of x plus delta x. Transposing y, we get delta y is equal to cos of x plus delta x minus y. That is, delta y is equal to cos of x plus delta x minus cos x. So we need a formula of cos alpha minus cos beta. So how do we get this? Cos of x plus y is cos x into cos y. Minus, if it is plus, this becomes minus sin x into sin y. Similarly, for cos of x minus y, you have cos x into cos y. If this is minus, this will become plus sin x into sin y. Now, since we need cos alpha minus cos beta format, so we will take the subtraction of this. So changing the sign, we get this cos x cos y plus and minus will get cancelled. So therefore you will be getting cos of x plus y minus cos of x minus y equals minus 2 sin of x into sin y. So put x plus y equal to alpha and x minus y equal to beta. When you add these two, x plus y equal to alpha, x minus y equal to beta, plus x, y and minus y gets cancelled, therefore it will be 2x is equal to alpha plus beta. So therefore x is equal to alpha plus beta by 2. Similarly, when you take the subtraction, x plus y is equal to alpha, x minus y is equal to beta. When you change the signs, you get this plus x and minus x gets cancelled, therefore you will get 2y is equal to alpha minus beta. So y will be equal to alpha minus beta by 2. So this formula, we substitute the things. For cos x plus y, we put alpha. So it will become cos alpha minus, in the place of x minus y is beta. So it will become cos beta equal to minus 2 sin x. Sin x is nothing but alpha plus beta by 2. Alpha by plus beta by 2 into cos y into sin y. So therefore it will become sin of alpha minus beta by 2. Now using this formula over there, so we use this formula here, so we take this one as formula cos alpha minus cos beta equals minus 2 into sin alpha plus beta by 2 into sin alpha minus beta by 2. So when using this formula, we'll try to substitute that. So we'll be getting delta y equal to, this becomes minus 2 sine of alpha plus beta. This is like alpha, this is like beta. So it will become x plus delta x plus x by 2 into sine x plus delta x minus x by 2. So this simplifying, you get delta y is equal to minus 2 sine, this will become 2x plus delta x by 2 into sine delta x by 2, because plus x and minus x will get cancelled. So now taking the whole equation and dividing it by delta x, we get, dividing by delta x, we get delta y by delta x is equal to minus 2 into sine of 2x plus delta x by 2 into sine of delta x by 2 divided by delta x, multiply and divide by 2, cancel this 2 and cancel this 2, take limit as delta x tends to 0. So you'll be getting limit of delta y by delta x as delta x tends to 0 equals minus sine of 2x plus, you take the limit also, limit of as delta x tends to 0, 2x plus delta x divided by 2 into limit of sine delta x by 2 divided by delta x by 2 as delta x tends to 0. So this will become d by dx of y is equal to minus, it will become sine of 2x by 2. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled, into the whole of this results into 1. So y is nothing but cos. So therefore we get d by dx of cos x is equal to minus sin x. That will be the final derivation. Thank you. Today we'll see the derivative of tan x by first principle method. Let y equals tan x be equation 1. If x tends to x plus delta x, then y will tend to y plus delta y. Substituting this in the equation 1, you get y plus delta y is equal to tan of x plus delta x. Transposing y, we get delta y is equal to tan of x plus delta x minus y. Delta y is equal to tan of x plus delta x minus tan x. Now we know that tan x is nothing but sin x by cos x. So applying that, delta y is equal to sin of x plus delta x divided by cos of x plus delta x, because tan theta is sin theta by cos theta. So tan x plus delta x will be equal to sin x plus delta x divided by cos x plus delta x minus sin x divided by cos x. Now taking LCM for this, we get delta y is equal to sin of x plus delta x into cos x minus sin x into cos of x plus delta x whole divided by cos of x plus delta x into cos x. Now we know that we have a formula sin of x plus y, or rather x minus y, equals sin x into cos y minus cos x into sin y is nothing but this. So applying this, we have sin into cos minus cos into sin. That is equal to sin x minus y. So resolve this into sin x minus y, applying this formula in the reverse order. So therefore you will be getting delta y is equal to sin of x is x plus delta y is like x. So it will become x plus delta x minus x. That will become sin x minus y whole divided by denominator, that is cos of x plus delta x into cos x. Now divide the whole thing by delta x into 1 by delta x. Now take limit as delta x tends to 0. So you will be getting limit of delta y by delta x as delta x tends to 0 equals limit of sin plus x and minus x gets cancelled, therefore it will become delta x divided by this delta x as delta x tends to 0 whole divided by cos of, you can take limit of cos of x plus delta x into cos x as delta x tends to 0. This is nothing but d by dx of y equal to this limit of sin theta by theta as theta tend to 0 is 1 divided by this, when you take limit as delta x tends to 0, delta x becomes 0. So therefore it will become x plus 0 into cos of x. When you take this one, you get d by dx of y is nothing but tan x. So tan x equal to 1 by cos x into cos x. That is nothing but 1 by cos square x. This is nothing but 1 by cos x is nothing but secant x. So 1 by cos square x will be equal to secant square x. So therefore you get d by dx of tan x equal to secant square x. That is the derivative of tan x. Thank you very much. Today we'll do the derivative of cot x by first principle method. So let y equal to cot x be equation 1 if x tends to x plus delta x, then y will tend to y plus delta y. Apply this into equation 1, you get y plus delta y is equal to cot of x plus delta x. Transpose y, you will be getting delta y is equal to cot of x plus delta x minus y. That is nothing but delta y is equal to cot of x plus delta x minus cot x. But cot is nothing but cos x by sin x. So therefore, applying that, you get this is equal to cos of x plus delta x divided by sin of x plus delta x minus cos x divided by sin x. Now taking the LCM of this, we'll be getting delta y is equal to cos into sin. So it will become, you can take it as sin x into cos of x plus delta x minus cos x into sin of x plus delta x whole divided by sin of x plus delta x into sin x. Dividing this, and we also know by this formula sin x, or you consider as sin alpha into cos beta minus cos alpha into sin beta is equal to sin of alpha minus beta. Applying that formula there, we get delta y is equal to sin alpha is nothing but x minus beta is x plus delta x whole divided by sin sine of x plus delta x into sine x. Now if you remove the brackets, you get also divided by delta x. So you get delta y by delta x equal to sine x minus delta x plus x minus x gets cancelled. So this will become into sine of x plus delta x into sine x into 1 by delta x. So you taking this, you get delta y divided by delta x is equal to minus sine of delta x divided by this delta x whole divided by sine of x plus delta x into sine x. So taking limits, you get limit of delta y by delta x as delta x tends to 0 is equal to minus of limit of sine delta x by delta x as delta x tends to 0 whole divided by limit of sine x plus delta x into sine x as delta x tends to 0. This will result into d by dx of y equal to minus limit of sine theta by theta as theta tends to 0 is 1. So therefore this will be 1 divided by as delta x tends to 0, this will become 0. So therefore it will become sine of x plus 0 into sine x. So therefore this will be equal to minus 1 divided by sine x into sine x. That is nothing but sine square x. Therefore you can write it as minus 1 by sine square x is nothing but cosec square x. So finally you arrive at this formula, d by dx of cot x is equal to minus cosec square x. That will be the final statement of this theorem. Thank you very much. Today we'll see the derivative of sec x by first principle method. So let y equal to sec x be equation 1. If x tends to x plus delta x, then y will tend to y plus delta y. So substituting these two in equation 1, we get y plus delta y equal to sec of x plus delta x. So transposing y, we get delta y is equal to secant x plus delta x. Secant x plus delta x minus y. But y from equation 1 we come to know it is sec x or secant x. So delta y is equal to sec of x plus delta x minus sec x. But we know sec x is nothing but 1 by cos x. So therefore we will be getting delta y is equal to 1 by cos of x plus delta x minus 1 by cos x. So taking LCM, we will get delta y is equal to cos x minus cos of x plus delta x whole divided by cos of x plus delta x into cos x. So now applying the formula cos alpha minus cos beta, this is equal to minus 2 sine of alpha plus beta by 2 into sine of alpha minus beta by 2. Applying this where cos x is alpha, cos x plus delta x will be beta. So therefore you will be getting delta y equals minus 2 into sine of, you get x minus x plus delta x by 2 into, first is plus, so therefore this is plus, then sine of x minus x plus delta x, the second one by 2. So dividing this by delta x, you get delta y by delta x is equal to minus 2 into sine of 2x plus delta x by 2 into sine of x minus x will get cancelled, therefore it will be minus delta x by 2. So taking limit, you get to know limit of delta y by delta x as delta x tends to 0 equals to minus 2 into sine of 2x plus delta x by 2. Take limit for this, limit of as delta x tends to 0 into limit of, you take minus common out, therefore this will become plus. So limit of sine delta x by 2 whole divided by delta x by 2 into 2 as delta x tends to 0 whole divided by the denominator, I'll take it now, that is limit of cos of x plus delta x into limit of as delta x tends to 3 into limit of cos of x as delta x tends to 0. So this 2 and this 2 gets cancelled. So you'll be left with d by dx of y equal to, this when substituted delta x tends to 0, so this will become 0. So therefore you will be getting sine of 2x by 2. This 2 and 2 gets cancelled into limit of delta x by 2 divided by delta x by 2 as delta x tends to 0 is as good as limit of sine theta by theta as theta tends to 0, which is 1. So this becomes 1. In the denominator as delta x tends to 0, this will become 0. Therefore you will be having cos x in the denominator into cos x. So this will result into sine x by cos x is nothing but tan x into 1 by cos x is nothing but secant x. Therefore we get to know d by dx of y is nothing but from equation 1 it is sec x. So d by dx of sec x is nothing but secant x into tan x. So this is equation 1. Thank you. Today we'll see the derivative of cosecant x by first principle method. So let y equals cosec x be equation 1. If x tends to x plus delta x, then y tends to y plus delta y. Substituting this in equation 1, we get y plus delta y equal to cosecant x of x plus delta x. Transposing y, you get delta y is equal to cosec of x plus delta x minus y. Substituting from equation 1 for y, we get delta y is equal to cosec of x plus delta x minus cosec x. But cosec x is nothing but 1 by sin x. So therefore you get delta y equal to 1 by sine of x plus delta x minus 1 by sin x. Taking LCM, we get delta y is equal to sine x minus sine of x plus delta x whole divided by sine x into sine of x plus delta x. Now applying the formula be sine alpha minus sine beta equal to 2 into cos of alpha plus beta by 2 into sine of alpha minus beta by 2. Applying this formula over there, you get delta y is equal to 2 into cos of alpha is x, beta is x plus delta x. So therefore it will become x plus delta x whole divided by 2 into sine of x minus x plus delta x by whole by 2. Now dividing this whole divided by, you have the denominator, that is sine of x into sine of x plus delta x. Now dividing this throughout by delta x, we get delta y divided by delta x is equal to 2 into cos of 2x plus delta x by 2 into sine, you will get minus delta x, because plus x and minus x will get cancelled, so you will be left with minus delta x by 2 whole divided by sine x into sine of x plus delta x divided by delta x by 2 into 2. So that with this match sine theta of theta as theta tend to 0 be 1. So I am multiplying dividing by 2. This 2 and this 2 I cancel. So you will be left with, taking limit, you get limit of delta y by delta x as delta x tends to 0 equals cos limit of cos 2x plus delta x as by 2 as delta x tends to 0 into limit of sine. You can take this negative outside, so I'll keep it over here negative, sine delta x by 2 divided by delta x by 2 as delta x tends to 0 whole divided by limit of sine x as delta x tends to 0 into limit of sine x plus delta x as delta x tends to 0. So in this case we get d by dx of y is equal to, this is going to become 0 as delta x tends to 0. So that become cos 2x by 2 is nothing but cos x. You get cos x. And here this results into 1. Limit of sin theta by theta as theta tends to 0 is 1. Therefore this becomes 1. So limit of sin x as delta x tends to, since there is no term as delta x, therefore it will remain the same, that is sin x, into, in this case delta x tends to 0, so therefore this becomes 0, so this will remain as sin x. So you know that cos by sin is nothing but, and the minus sign is over here, I take this minus sign here, so cos by sin is nothing but cot, so therefore it will become minus cot x, into 1 by sin is nothing but cosec x. So therefore you get d by dx of y is nothing but cosec x or cosecant x. So cosec x is equal to minus cosec x into cot x. So that will be your final result. Thank you.
My heartfelt gratitude for this video viewers. May God bless you all.